Okay, so today we're going to take those flowers from yesterday, our organic enlarged Georgia O'Keeffe inspired flowers, and we're going to start coloring them in. Now, at home, I know some of you had said that you have big art packs with all different coloring supplies. I have a few of those supplies that you might have in those packs that you can use today. I'm going to show you how to use those. But otherwise, you can use crayons, colored pencils, really anything you have that's colorful, and that maybe you can mix some of those colors. We're going to try blending some of them. So markers are not the best for that, but if that's all you have, then go ahead and use it. But in those art packs, and if you were here in the art room with me, I would be having you use some pastels, and probably we would be using what's called soft pastels, which are these guys, and they're really soft. They're like chalk. I don't know if you can see how it's just coloring on my hand like that. Then there's also another kind of pastel, which is like this. It might have a little wrapper on it. These ones are called oil pastels. These are a little bit more like crayons, like stickier crayons. Either one of these will work. In the art room, if we were here today, I would be having us use the soft pastels because they just move a little bit easier. That being said, they're also a lot messier. So if you have these at home, be really careful with where you are and what you're getting things on. I'll also show you how you can mix some of your colors with your crayons, and your colored pencils work the same way. So let me show you the difference between the two different pastels. So these are my oil pastels. If I start with my oil pastel here, and I can go ahead and I can start coloring it in. And now each of these petals is probably going to look very similar because it's on a flower. But what I want to do is try to add in some of the value. So I can take my finger, and if you don't like the way this feels on your finger, you can get a paper towel and wrap it around there. And you can just go ahead and you can move some of that color around. Now you can see it's going kind of in places that I might not want it to go. Okay? And because I want these petals to stand out from one another, if I have this next petal the same color, I have to add or mix or blend a different color in there to come up with a slightly different value of the color that's already here. So I have this beautiful red, and I moved it around a little bit, but now I want to get it to change. So I'm going to add in another little bit of a color. Oops, I might need to unwrap this. And I can lighten it up or change the color. I'm mixing it. Maybe I have a little bit of a lighter area coming around here, so I'm using some white. Maybe I have a darker area in here. And then again, I can take my fingers. Now I have to be careful because some are already messy, so I'm going to use a different finger here to blend some of those colors and change what they look like. So these are fun. This is actually kind of like painting with your fingers. And it can be just as messy as that too, so be careful. Okay, so these are the oil pastels. Now let's look at the soft pastels. They're a little bit different. So I have these colors here, and I'm going to work on this flower for this one. You can maybe even hear the difference. And I don't even need to fill the whole thing in because I can take that finger. So my battery died before I realized it. As I was talking, I was trying to show you how you can take these colors with a soft pastel. And again, they're a lot easier to blend. I don't even need to fill up the whole area, but I can move those colors around. So I could really do a few at a time, but I have to be really careful. I have to control where it's going. And then I get this dust too, so I have to be careful with that. This won't have dust. The oil pastels will not. The chalk pastels will. You can layer your colors. You can move them around, but you have to be a little bit more careful with the soft pastels than you do with the oil pastels. Oil pastels don't move around as easily, but they still mix and they still blend. So let me show you what you can do. Actually, I'll just leave this one. You can also do something similar with your crayons too. So just regular simple crayons, regular crayons. And if I start to color in Now remember, we're creating different values, different colors, different hues to make our picture more interesting. All right, so I have this petal is reddish, and maybe I want to add in some lighter areas or just a slightly different color. Now these aren't going to move. Wherever I put them is where they're going to kind of stay. So I'm going to add this to the edge. You can do the same thing with colored pencils if you have them. And then maybe I'll add a little bit of a darker color. With the colored pencils and crayons, I'm using pressure. So I'm pushing harder where I want the colors to be darker. I'm pushing lighter where I want the colors to be lighter. With the soft pastels, I'm just moving those colors around. So I can just take those and I can move those colors. With crayons, I need to be a little bit more thoughtful about what I'm doing and where I'm putting those colors. So there, I have different colors in there mixed. So I have 3 colors in this one petal, and I'm going to take this same idea and kind of repeat it throughout all of my petals. Same thing with all of your other ways you're going to color it in. Okay, so you guys can now decide what tools do you have available to you, how are you going to color this in, what colors are you going to use, and how many different values or shades are you going to get of each of those different colors. Have fun with that.